very hard to invade.
You're right. Yeah, like there are some countries that just are difficult to invade. Like Iran is a good example. They're entirely surrounded by mountains. I was reading the U.S. did like a war game, like prediction of what a boots on the ground war would look like in Iran, and they stopped the war game prediction after like 2 days because of how many losses America would have. They're like, oh, this is not doable. No, we cannot have a land war in fucking Iran.
Yeah,
because did you Iran see the papers? Did Trump wave them around, or Iran attack planes?
Yeah, to be fair, he had added some Sharpie to it, and he had made the Americans much taller.
Dude, a lot of people think like Iran is like Iraq, or like what Iraq is now. It's like no, Iran's much more real deal a country than modern Iraq.
Yeah, I don't really know. I see both sides of it. I see like they're much more like westernized than you think, and they've got a great economy and they're educated and all that stuff. And then you see like it's Sharia law, how do you pronounce Sharia law, and a religious government, and they're kind of backwards and they hate women. And I'm like, I don't know what the truth is.
I don't think they hate women over there in Iran.
I think it's like a little bit of, I think both. I think
there's a little bit of misogyny going on there.
Yeah.
Are they a burqa country?
Oh,
they're definitely a hijab.
Saudi Arabia has a lot of issues with I think women just got
no Saudi Arabia burqa company.
Yeah,
not burqa either. And they're not. You're thinking a hijab, not burqa. Burqa's the full outfit where you like can't even see out.
No, I think that's Saudi Arabia.
We've been having
Afghanistan. Saudi Arabia is fine with the hijab, where you just have the head covering.
I've been watching Philip DeFranco's videos on it, but on the Saudi-U.S. relations are very poor right now. We're apparently warming up to the Venezuelans, and I see that the Saudis are cutting the oil production again. Right? They're not happy with the Western countries using their strategic reserves to manipulate the price, and also we're making a lot of oil. I'm sure, despite what Biden has done. And they're cutting production again by, I don't know, another 1 billion barrels or something like that.
Are they still threatening to sell it on the ruble and the Chinese fucking dollar, whatever, the yuan?
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. I know we've threatened them a lot. With their military, because most of their planes are our planes. So if we cut off that part supply, part of the whole thing, reason this whole Ukraine thing is interesting is because there's it's like Android and Apple, right? That's how the arms are in the world right now, more or less. There's France and Korea,
Android and Apple.
It's Android and Apple. And
there's Windows phones that come from France, but who gives a fuck? They're not a real player.
Fuck that. That's not compatible with either of them.
Linux.
So the Western guys in the United States, we make these Apple phones. The Russians, they've got this fucking Androids. And if you're Saudi Arabia or India or Pakistan, you have to pick. Because you want all your shit to work together. Yeah.
And the US stuff tends to be really technologically advanced, but maybe fragile by comparison. Takes a little more expertise to maintain them. Yeah. And the Russian stuff tends to be just sort of simple, strong, and durable and tough. And if you were to ask me 3 years ago which one's better, I'd shrug. But now they've been tested.
Russian stuff's like the flip phone, man. Yeah. I had a flip phone that just I said I would upgrade when it broke. I didn't upgrade that fucking phone until like 2013 and it never broke is the fucking thing. Like it died one time and came back to life, actually.
Sorry, Kyle, I think I threw you off your groove.
No, you're perfect. But like one of the things one of the ways that the United States exerts its powers on countries is, hey, wouldn't you like a bunch of F-16s? That could be your Air Force. Our shit is good. You've seen them in action. You're like, yeah, we can afford 200 million of them. Then a few years pass, and
here's both.
A few years pass, and they do something we don't like. Oh, did you stop that oil vessel? Are you cutting down on your production of oil? Are you supporting this religious group that secretly funds Hamas? No more carburetors for you. No more carburetors for those F-16. Or F-16s don't have carburetors, but
I'm working with it.
No more F-16 carburetors for you. And they're like, whoa. These things go through a carburetor every fucking week. What are you talking about? We won't have an Air Force. I'm sure you can get some new carburetors somewhere. No, you're the only people who make carburetors for F-16s. I'll let that vessel go. Stop funding Hamas.
Our military does like the HP Inc. strategy. Where it's like, oh, I'm sorry. Does your tank not work, dummy?
Because now there's another part. Now we know which one's better. now we know these Russian things. They're getting butt fucked by Ukraine. Like that, dude. That's not supposed to happen. When your tanks are so bad that they're losing to Ukraine, against our tanks or our javelins or whatever, that's a bad look. Now, if I'm India, I don't want to buy the Russian stuff. It's been tested. It's not the good stuff.
Yeah, I saw a lot of.
It seems like American weapons manufacturers round down. I love that.
Yeah. Like
what's the range on your missile? Call it 50 miles. It's 180.
Yeah. We saw that with so the Russians had these supersonic missiles and we had the Patriot system. And the Russians are like, it goes like Mach 5 and it goes like Mach 1. And we're like, the Patriot, yeah, we could probably never take out one of those, but it can. And then it gets tested and we start shooting down these supersonic missiles. And the Russian scientist, did he get executed or what the fuck happened?
There were 2 or 3 of them that they snatched up. And right after, there was a night where half a dozen of those hypersonic missiles got shot down. And then immediately 2 or 3 Russian scientists who were on that program got locked up. They said they were getting locked up because they had sold secrets to China. But that might have, my guess, and this is just me, my Tom Clancy brain is, they were like, what the fuck? Dimitri said the missiles worked right. Look into him. And they found out that, you've been talking to Chang over there, huh? Well, you were on my list anyway. And now he's gone.
Was that I think you mentioned this before, where that was the story where like the scientists were lying about the capabilities of it, of like, this can do this fast, it can take out this in the air, and then they test it and it can't do any of that shit.
Presumably,
we round down.
Putin is the guy who was out there. He's been doing it for like years now, maybe 10 years when they first came out with that missile, and he's like, in a word, it is the perfect weapon. It cannot be intercepted.
Perfect. It is as good a weapon as I am at ice hockey. Have you not seen clip? I dangle right past Alex Ovechkin. Alex Ovechkin, best player in the world. He says, I can't guard Putin. Like that would be. Is there a clip of that? I would love to see a clip of like Alex Ovechkin like pretending like, what do I do? Oh fuck! I tripped. Dude, there's that. I love that clip of Vladimir Putin going in, and even if you do not know hockey, he does not have dangles. He does not have hands. He's not toe dragging that puck. He's not whipping it about. And I watched the goalie because as a goalie, like I know like, why they're moving the way they do. And like it was hilarious because you watch the goalie shoot so way too far over to the right for no reason at all, and only only even put his blade down to move backwards after the puck is like beyond saving. Yeah. So he basically is like an automatic door, like, zzz, zzz, like just allowing the puck.
That's just another one of those examples of why the West really is